What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'll break down what's happening to the market thus far and what you should be watching for as time progresses, and also how things are looking as we have some big data coming out very, very soon. Before I break anything down, all this information, before I talk about a very important level on SPY that you should be watching for, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed up to 5 free stocks. We deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, when it comes to SPY, as you predict, we're actually getting this little pullback. We're actually coming back just a little bit, and this is exactly what we predicted after Jerome Powell gave his little interview yesterday. And the market's dipping just a little bit, but we're going to be watching some very critical supports, which I will discuss a little bit later in the video, and see if the market bounces at those levels. So yesterday, Jerome Powell basically said the same thing as we predicted, that the U.S. Basically is not going to be very confident about rate cuts just yet. He says they need more positive economic data for an extended period of time, because of the fact that things have been a little bit complicated with inflationary data, and they need more good data for an extended period of time for them to cut rates. And right now, they're not too sure, and it's quite unlikely, in his words, that they're going to be giving us any cuts in March. So that was very, very important. This is part of why the market's pulling back. We're actually seeing futures slip as a result of this. He's reducing the confidence in them cutting in March or cutting anytime soon. So just be a little bit careful. Now, there's going to be more data coming out today, so watch for volatility. 15 minutes after the market opens, we have the S&P Global Composite PMI. This might cause some volatility because this is an important gauge for our economy. And then at 10 o'clock a.m., watch for more volatility. That's 30 minutes after the market opens, because we have the ISM Services PMI. That's important. And the ISM Services new orders and services prices are two more important pieces of data for inflationary data and such. So watch for volatility thanks to all this data coming out. And we're going to be watching to see how things go. But this is going to be very important, guys. Make sure you're ready for this. Expect volatility at 10 a.m. As far as earnings go, this morning we had Caterpillar and McDonald's, just a couple of a couple of others. We have more coming out, including Palantir after the market closes, and more later on for the week. But looking at Caterpillar, this is surging towards a record after another big profit beat, which is good news for them. Once again, they're in record territory. Their forecast was not bad as well. So guidance is pretty good. And for McDonald's, revenue missed estimates because of things that are going on and affecting their sales. But on top of this, it's worth noting that with mixed earnings, they have dropped quite a bit, just a little bit. And I found that their guidance is just like a little bit indecisive, so we'll be watching for that as well. But that's pretty much it for the news for now. Don't forget, guys, watch for volatility at 9:45 a.m. and then 10 a.m. with all this data coming out. What do I think SPY is going to do? Well, exactly as we predicted. I told you we're going to see this thing retrace even below this support over here into the 492s. But there are two levels worth noting. So the first one is this one right here. Basically, let's just make this yellow. This yellow support and then this next yellow support are going to be two levels to watch for, because these are previous breakout areas. So historically, we actually had this zone right here acting as resistance. We actually broke out from here, and then we also broke out from like right here, right? So we have two important zones. So how is this going to likely look? In my opinion, SPY could, as long as we hold 492.5, we're going to likely try to bounce here. But if we break below this, we could go down to 491.5 and then see a bounce. So these are two levels to watch for where we could end up bouncing between this range. As long as we hold above 491, we could bounce and continue higher. But if we lose 491, there's going to be a risk of us coming back down to 489. So just be a little bit careful at that level. SPY right now, it's retracing a little bit. I think that it could retrace a little more. We're going to be watching some buyers try to defend this range. We're very close to it. So I think that the buyers will defend, and we might see this thing bounce. But as long as we hold this range, we should be able to bounce. If we lose the 491 area, we're going to be watching the market sink back down. So watch that very carefully. Do we see buyers defend us between 491 and 492? If so, yes, we're going to bounce. If not, watch for some downside. So I think we're going to likely bounce, though. That's what I favor, at least for now. So watch the market very carefully. As far as Tesla goes, we had some bad news involving Elon Musk. All the news is coming out, and some big headlines are saying that he's doing certain things. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's just this right here. Not good news. I don't really want to disclose what this means when the CEO could possibly have been taking certain substances. Not good news. So that's been a little bit negative for them. There's been some good news involving the Giga Berlin and other things like that, but I'll talk more about that in a later video. Tesla's dropping to the levels we called out. We have this imbalance down here at 184, and Tesla's testing this. But just know historically, when Tesla hits 184 and also 182, we tend to see buyers step in. So watch this range right here, around 182 to 184. Tesla should try to rebound in this range right here and try to push our way back up towards this gap at 187, at least later on. If we're bearish, you want to see it basically lose 180 and start collapsing. If we're bullish, you want to see it balance and try to break above, 190. I think it's going to be in the middle though. I think it could drop a little bit more, but we're going to see some buyers trying to defend it and push it back up. And I think it's just going to remain in this range for the majority of the day. So that's what I'm predicting for now. So watch and see if buyers defend Tesla. It could drop a little bit more first. On the QQQ is the same thing. So this is basically, it was retracing when I was holding up a little bit better thanks to some big tech stocks. So basically, we called out this support right here at 427. We hit this in the pre-market. Now we're trying to bounce already. Watch 427, see if we base around here. If we lose 427, we could retrace closer to 425 and then try to bounce. As long as we're above 425, the QQQ is going to be fine. If we lose 425, a bigger drop is going to be coming towards 423 than 421. I think that the QQQ could retrace just a little bit, retest the 427s, and we might see some buyers try to defend it as time goes on. So watch and see if we try to bounce off that level. Overall, we're still on an uptrend. We're getting a little rejection here, but could be just forming a flag. So we're completely fine. Look for a little retracement and then some buyers to step in as time goes on. For Nvda, I think that Nvidia is looking quite decent. It's still holding up nicely. Actually broke its all-time high again, and it looks to me like it's just trying to head towards 700 at this point. It's just continuing to break out. Look for a little retracement. Might grab liquidity at 676, and then we might see some sideways price action. Eventually, a breakout. I think it's just going for that $700 level, the psychological 700. So that's my price target at this point because it just keeps breaking out no matter what. So it's bullish. It's continuing to break out. There's nothing really stopping it. So we're just going to be watching these levels. It's actually broke higher than what we were expecting yesterday, which is fine. So it's still very bullish, basically. It's still very, very bullish, continuing to break out. I think that Nvidia has a very, very good chance of just continuing as time goes on. So this looks bullish. Could it retrace right here? Yes, it can. But it's going to likely try to continue to push up and try to get closer to about 700 at this point. I think there's a very good chance of that potentially panning out. So Nvidia looks bullish to me. Going to be looking for a breakout soon. How about Aapl? Aapl, we were basically saying that this thing might kind of like retrace a little bit, forming like an inverse head and shoulders before it tries to bounce. One thing worth noting is that if you look at Aapl, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure. We have this head here, left shoulder, potential right shoulder forming. Are we going to come down to form this right shoulder and balance, or are we just going to push up from here? If we start pushing up from here, this is going to be bullish for the markets. So we'll see if Aapl does so. Ultimately, it looks bullish though with the inverse head and shoulders. Might see this thing just come back down and start pushing up even higher. So that being said, guys, thank you all so much for listening. I hope you guys have a great day. Watch your levels very carefully. And don't forget the data is coming out. So watch for volatility 15 minutes and 30 minutes after market open. And we'll see how things go, especially the ISM services prices and the ISM services new orders. Watch all the PMI reports. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, guys, and peace out.